Now, let's put Illinois in focus as we continue talking with candidates for the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Let's talk now with Jeannie Evans, who's one of 6 candidates on the ballot for this primary coming up on Tuesday. Jeannie, thanks for taking time with us. And let's go ahead and get right on into it. For people who are not familiar with who you are, you're on the ballot. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I think in Illinois, people are struggling with high prices, high crime. Democrat leadership has not solved those problems for us, and people are looking for a fresh voice, someone who will innovate to make our communities safer and bring down prices so people can afford housing and to put food on the table and pay their electric bill. I am a political outsider. I graduated from Harvard Law School. I've spent my career as a lawyer, taking on powerful corporations to level the playing field for small businesses and to bring down prices for Americans. I do antitrust work. I sue companies for price fixing so that we break up illegal monopolies, we promote competition in the markets, and we bring down prices. And I think that's what people are looking for. A lot of candidates are talking about affordability. Voters are talking about affordability, and I bring the skills and experience to do that. I've been very successful. I've recovered billions of dollars for American families. I've worked hand in hand with the Department of Justice on these issues. I have been named one of the top antitrust enforcement lawyers in the country. So I'm very excited to bring my knowledge and skills to Washington to take on industries like healthcare, where there's a lot of anti-competitive structures, try to remove those and bring down prices dramatically.
Now, of course, Republicans taking a Republican ballot March 17th. Many probably already have voted early, with the state having 40 days to vote early in the land of Lincoln. So for those who haven't voted, they've got 6 choices on there. What separates you from the other candidates?
I want Illinois voters to know that I am a conservative Republican that shares their Christian values, their family values. I was blessed with wonderful parents who raised me in a Christian home to love the gospel and to love the Constitution of the United States. My father read to me from the Constitution as a child. He read me the Federalist Papers as a child at bedtime stories. He's read me, as a young person, economic theory. So I'm very rooted in freedom, free markets, free enterprise, and those conservative principles of trying to reduce the size of government, lowering taxes, and letting people decide how to spend their own money rather than taxing people and then trying to spend that money on their behalf. I think people can figure out how to spend it themselves. So I want to work with our president and the current administration to peel back a lot of the regulations on businesses that are making it hard for them to thrive. So we want to cut red tape, cut taxes, so businesses can be successful. They can create jobs, innovate, and create opportunities for people in Illinois and across our country. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. My husband and I have been married for 32 years. We have raised our family on the south side of Chicago, where my husband works, and where I've worked as a lawyer. And our 4 kids attended Chicago public schools. We've been active in our Christian church community on the south side, and we've had great experiences, but we've also seen the devastating impacts of crime. We've had loved ones who have lost friends, family to crime, and who are fed up with Democrat leadership that is not making their communities safer. So I am somebody who will support law enforcement. I will work to get them the resources and tools they need to do their job, to see that we have the staffing levels, not just in Chicago, but I will be representing the entire state, and I will be working to increase the staffing levels so that we can make our communities safe. I'm ready to go to Washington and to work for the American people. I've been tough in the courtroom. I've been tough negotiating settlements for my clients, and I've gotten great results, and I want to get great results for the American people.
We're talking with Jeannie Evans. She is one of the 6 candidates running for the Republican nomination to fill the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Democrat Dick Durbin, who's been in Congress for decades. Jeannie, you've got, of course, a lot of different issues that you're going to be grappling if you do get past the primary and pass the November election. One of those being the ongoing conflict in Iran. Should that be declared a war? And what are your thoughts on this?
I want to give my overriding position is that we do need to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. The regime in Iran has been exporting terrorism around the world. They've been the primary funder of the major terrorists in our world, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis. The data is that they're responsible for about 90% of their funding. And we do need to cut that off. And this is a religious ideology in Iran that preaches death to America and that they want to destroy Israel, destroy America. And I think we have to take seriously that if they had nuclear weapons, they might use them and they might use them against us. They had already gotten intermediate ballistic missiles. We cannot let them get long-range ballistic missiles that could hit the United States. We cannot let them enrich uranium and make those warheads that they could put on those missiles and hit the United States. We cannot let them get nuclear bombs. This had to happen. They're just a regime that cannot get nuclear weapons, and our president is correct that we had to take action to stop them. And I think that the intelligence they were getting is that they were too close and we had to stop it.
Another big issue senators are facing right now, you got the Save America Act that President Donald Trump is urging Congress to pass. The House has already passed it, and now the Senate's dealing with it. But I do want you to sound off on voter ID. But first, let's talk about the filibuster. What are your thoughts on that, and should that be something that's done away with in the U.S. Senate?
I'll take both of these issues. So I do support voter ID. I think the majority of the country does. I think the polling is that both Republicans and Democrats, we have, I think, an average of the whole country of 80% supports voter ID. They want to know that their vote counts, that the only people who are voting are those that are authorized to vote, and we want to have secure elections and have faith in our elections. So I think that's important. In terms of the filibuster, I do believe that the founders, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the founding. I believe they were wise. And I think one of the structures of the Senate is such that it does slow things down a little bit so that we can get consensus on issues. Without the filibuster, it's easier to pass legislation for the party in power, but it also has less support, and it's easy to overturn the next time. There's less support behind it. And so I think part of our system, it's frustrating for those in power who want to get their agenda accomplished, but they're at some point they're going to be in the minority and wish that they had some ability to stop legislation moving too quickly if it doesn't have full, broader support.
Talking with Jeannie Evans, again, a candidate for U.S. Senate for the Republicans on the March 17th ballots, and that is just a handful of days away here. You've got a whole host of other things that we could talk about for hours about Illinois, but one thing that I think is important taxpayers need to know is your position on whether President Trump should withhold federal tax dollars from the state of Illinois for a variety of reasons, like, Illinois having no cash bail, Illinois having certain policies concerning transgender ideology, or, SNAP dollars to possibly require, the state taxpayers to make up the difference. Where do you stand on using the power of the purse from Congress to get policy changes out of a state like Illinois?
Big picture is that Illinois government needs to care more about the people than they care about fighting Trump. I think we have under Governor Pritzker and his Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton, we have leadership that cares more about fighting Trump than getting things done for the people of Illinois. If I were elected, I would be building unity. I'd be building unity within the Republican Party, building unity among Republicans and Democrats to work with the federal government. If the federal government has money and funding and resources for us, we want to take advantage of it. We want to use it. We want to welcome it. We want to talk to the president, say, thanks for giving us resources. Let's talk about the best way to use them. Let's talk about what you have to offer and what is going to work best for the people of Illinois. And I would be working to make that happen and getting the resources that we can in a way that we want them and that we can use them on a long-term basis.
You mentioned one of the more recognizable names on the Democrat side. They've got 10 candidates that Democrats have to choose from in the March 17th primary. That if you were to advance out of the March primary into the November general midterm election, you would face. What have you been watching from the Democrat side? What are some of the things that you're hearing them message during the primary? and how do you combat some of those ideas?
What I'm hearing on the Democrat side is a lot of wanting to tax and spend, raise taxes for a host of programs. They're talking about how the government can take care of us. The government can do this for you and that for you. I believe in freedom. I believe people can make decisions for themselves and provide for themselves. So we want to lower taxes, leave the money with the people. So you hear about subsidies. We'd rather than tax people and give money back to them in subsidies, we want to just leave the money with the people and let them choose what to do for it, what to do with their own money. So I think we've had Democrat leadership in Illinois. We know what that looks like. We know that with the taxes and the host of regulations that they've enacted, businesses are leaving our state. We've had major employers, Boeing, Citadel, Tyson Foods, Caterpillar. These are huge companies that brought great jobs, high-paying jobs, and they've left the state because of the just regulatory burden and the tax burden. We want to get them back. We want to keep not just large businesses, but small businesses. We've seen a decline in small businesses. That's dangerous. Small businesses are the growth engine of the economy. They are the big businesses of tomorrow. We want to welcome them and nurture them. The Democratic leadership just in the last year has raised the filing fee, like the renewal licensing fees for small businesses, by incredible amounts. It's unaffordable. We're driving out businesses. We want to welcome businesses. We want more jobs. We want more competition. The more businesses, the more competition, prices go down. And that's lower prices for all of us. And it's more jobs so we can earn the money to pay for them. I think the people of Illinois, that's what they're looking for. They want a good economy, jobs for their kids and grandkids so they can stay here. They want safer communities, and they want an education system that's actually educating their kids and preparing them for the workforce. And that's what that's what I bring to the table. I think that message is going to resonate not just with Republicans in this primary on March 17th, but with all the voters of Illinois in November.
Jeannie Evans, one of 6 candidates on the Republican ballots to take the U.S. Senate nomination for the GOP on the March 17th ballot. You've got a whole bunch of other choices, and this is just one of them. So, Jeannie, I greatly appreciate you taking the time with us here for the Center Square Daily.
Thanks so much. And to the Republican primary voters, Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate this Tuesday, March 17th.
And that'll do it for Illinois in Focus. This is the Center Square Daily. From my studios in Central Illinois, I'm Greg Bishop. And you can join us back here Monday for more stories impacting you, the taxpayer, from around the country, only with the Center Square Daily.